Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Paradoxic, and welcome back to The Walking Dead. This time we are on season 10, episode 22, and this is the final one. This is the official season finale for season 10, and the very last of the bonus episodes. And this should be a really good one because I've heard some things about this, nothing too kind of spoilery or anything like that. But I've heard that this is actually might just be like the biggest one yet because this gives us some backstory for none other than Negan. This actually gives us some backstory for Negan, shows us kind of where he came from, and I don't know if it's actually going to be pre-outbreak or still kind of post-outbreak, like showing us like how he, because like I think that there's still like a decent enough amount of time from the outbreak to when he actually became the leader of the Saviors and a character that we hated and loved to hate and all that kind of stuff. But it's going to be some Negan backstory, and we're going to meet Lucille, the real human Lucille, his wife, that the very, very deadly bat is named after, and she is going to be played by none other than Hillary Morgan Burton. Is that, I think, Burton Morgan? Morgan Burton. Let me actually look that up. I feel bad for not knowing. Pretty sure it's Burton Morgan. Pretty sure. Yep, Hillary Burton Morgan. Yeah, okay. His real life wife. So she has been casted to actually play Lucille as well, so I think that should be a very, very fun backstory to see. And I think he's mentioned her like once before. They actually made like a reference once before. He was actually tied up and talking to Jadis, and he actually talked about how he did have a wife before, but then things went to shit, and I don't think she survived, but then he did go on to honor her memory by naming a bat that he uses to kill people after her, so I'm sure she loves him no less than that kind of a very fond and very, very smashing memory. But yeah, I'm curious to see exactly how like what kind of story this is going to be. If it's going to be really dramatic, or if it's just going to be like more grounded and emotional, and what kind of man we're going to see. Like like how we went from like, because I think there are pictures of him that they kind of showed like of him before, and like I think he actually was kind of like, so he's said to have been like a baseball coach or something. So he was actually pretty physically active even before the outbreak, and then became even deadlier in that regard afterwards. So I'm curious to see like just how much of his life we'll see in this kind of prequel, and like how Jeffrey and Hillary both kind of take this episode and take these roles, and kind of like it's going to be, I think it's going to be a very different version of Negan that we see, and I think knowing that is probably going to humanize him a bit too. So I'm kind of curious to see like how differently they make us feel about him after watching this, and I'm curious to see how Hillary does as the human Lucille too. I'm really eager to see that. So that should be fun. But last time we had like somewhat less of like a dramatic episode. We had Carol versus a rat, a wall, and trying to make soup, and going toe to toe with a wall over a rat. So that was interesting. And we had Daryl kind of going the classic Walking Dead route and actually facing off against a herd of walkers and trying to find like cables for his bike and all that jazz. So it wasn't anything like I think these bonus episodes have been very, very mixed in that regard. Some of them have actually been fairly actiony and action packed, and others have been a bit more grounded and a bit more kind of kind of emotionally kind of relative and stuff. So it hasn't been anything supreme or anything overly kind of massive, but it's been like bonus episode, like they've promoted them as episodes, used like created and written specifically to actually develop certain characters and to kind of push the story in very slight kind of directions, but nothing to be overly excited about. So it's kind of lived up to that kind of expectation. So I'm very curious to see how this final bonus episode and how this kind of finale for the season ends and where it brings us. But yeah, I don't know if it's actually going to add too much to the story besides from actually showing us more of Negan and who he was and how he came to be and stuff. So it should be fun. It should be very, very fun. So on to the episode. In terms of the episode and its reaction, this one, as always, will just be the highlights and stuff like that. But if you guys want the full-length reaction, the absolute full unedited version, that one will be over on Patreon. So you can go check that one out over there. But yeah, onto the episode. So The Walking Dead, episode 22 of season 10. Let's go.
Remember the song you used to sing me?
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine.
Oh, baby Herschel singing. Oh no, never mind. Negan made Carl sing that back in season, I think, what was it, 7 or 8 or something? I think it was 7. Yeah, when he broke into the sanctuary.
You may have noticed things with Maggie and I are a little bit tense.
Really?
Being lay low Negan for a bit, but
Wow, I had no idea.
so
That
far I can go to get out of
flew
the
right
way.
past my head. I had no idea. No clue whatsoever.
Did the council really banish me? Or is this more of a Carol seizing the reins kind of situation?
That coy little smirk. Carol does what Carol does. It is not in your position to question it.
No, see, the sad part is that you thought for even a second that those folks would see you for anything but who you truly are. You're a clown. A cult of personality with no cult. Go ahead and you call me whatever little name.
You know, there's self-depreciating humor, and then there's this. There's this. Yeah, just tearing yourself down.
I'm gonna pour it down the toilet and make you watch.
Jesus. The sadism really jumped out, huh?
No, don't.
Oh! It's her! It's Laura!
You didn't have to do that.
Laura!
I'm sorry.
Oh, damn! We get Laura back in a flashback. So she wasn't with him to begin with. She was something else before she was a savior. Okay. They have a microwave.
Exposure.
They have a microwave. Or a microwave, if you will.
This book sucks. It's killing me. I can't do it.
You're the one that won't let me watch James Bond.
Aww.
Read.
Damn. They're really making me feel for Negan and Lucille right now. Are they really doing this? After everything he's done?
You gotta take care of it.
Oh, there's a knife in the eye stalk. That's how it's done. That's how it's done. Yeah, just one bullet. Just a one bullet. Oh, she really came out here with all of this and just took out that zombie.
You're everything I need. 'Cause you are
The pink hair is amazing. That's gorgeous. Yeah. Oh, okay. What did she get him? How would you even find a gift, like a suitable gift in a place? The leather jacket, the leather freaking jacket, and it's got it's got a tag and everything. It's completely unused.
I smoked a pot.
They have weed.
Yeah.
I got that
They
for you.
still have a
You
weed.
gotta go to work tomorrow.
Jeez. Water dripping. Oh, wait, the freezer. The freezer. Oh, jeez, nada. Oh, god, all the ice is gone. All the ice is gone. Oh, damn.
I have something to tell you.
Oh, no. What's that? She's gonna be like, oh, I'm ready to go now. Oh.
Don't be such a pussy. This is how you get.
Oh my god.
Are you playing with children?
He's a...
Mostly.
Oh my god.
Jumbo, this is how you get better.
And he's doing nothing but playing with kids online all day.
I threw the receipt away.
Oh,
I tried a little rosemary instead of oregano and a little white wine reduction in with the chicken stock.
to think, right now, everyone from season 1 is still alive. Everyone from season 1 is still alive. That's crazy. Crazy thought.
Besides, you know how the doctors can be. They have you sit around for 3 hours with your ass hanging out, and then they tell you everything's fine.
The good news is that we caught it early on.
Nope, they caught it. Yeah, they caught something. An MRI, so that'll be like a brain cancer, right? Like a brain
Do
one.
you have someone to drive you home?
He lied about having an appointment. He doesn't have one for another couple of weeks. So where is he? What's he do? Is he still playing with teenagers online? Is he still cussing them out and telling them to get better at video games? Wait. Janine Negan. Is he with Janine? Is he with Janine? Don't tell me he's with Janine.
Cumberland have concluded that in all cases the killers are eating the flesh of the people they kill.
The outbreak has started. The outbreak has started already. Oh, she has a gun. She's got a gun. Oh, damn. Sells you the gun or the cancer
I've
stuff.
got cancer.
Just so you know, I broke it up with her as soon as we got your diagnosis.
Oh, well,
I
that's
never saw
touching.
her, even
That's
talked
very
to her
touching.
again.
Yeah.
Oh, that too.
Mm.
I know. Now it's time for you to go on without me.
She wants him to let her go.
I need you to do my fighting for me. Okay?
Giving him back his empty
Gang
gun.
that owns the roads at night. Is that empty gun your only weapon?
The bat. Oh,
Here.
damn.
Take this.
Oh, Laura, you have no idea what you're doing.
Bet you hit me with?
You have no idea what you're doing. Oh, god damn
Lock
it.
him in the storage room.
You can't do this to Laura and Franklin, not after what they did.
Lucille?
Oh god, is she okay? Is she okay? Don't tell me you went through all of that just to come back to her dead. Please don't leave me like this. Oh god, what's happened? Oh no. No. Oh, and that's where he wraps the bat in barbed wire. He gets it from his own house. The birth of Lucille 2.0. Smith, Negan Smith, and Lucille Smith. Damn. Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah. This is where he begins. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He gets a penchant for mind-blowing action. Oh, there we go. Here's Negan.
You can go find your daughter and make sure she's okay.
Don't worry, it's got bullets in it this time. It has bullets.
Look at us.
Oh, this how the turntables. How the turn freaking tables.
You know, last time you did. This time you best hope I never stop talking. Because when I do,
No.
when I do, something very terrible is gonna happen to you. And I go over and I tell him that he owes me 50 cents. So I can play the song again, he can shut the hell up, and my wife can enjoy her song. You know when people get so angry they say they see red? That shit is actually true. When this asshole comes at me, all I see is red. It's like I am looking at the world through blood. I wail on this son of a bitch until he's not moving.
Jesus.
And then I reach down, I grab his wallet, and I take out $1. And I play her song.
So double what he asked for.
Twice.
Yeah.
Turns out that this prick,
He chooses you now.
this is for not killing me.
Oh boy. It's too old now, Negan. It's too old now. It's shattered. I think in the comics that actually did happen too. Like he actually hit someone so hard it actually just splintered and broke off into a million pieces. Oh, and it's in half.
Sorry.
It's in half. Jesus. Okay.
I hope that you found someone in the afterlife and you were screwing your brains out.
Classic Negan. Yeah.
Not really, but fair is fair.
Yeah. Hope she's happy. Hope she's happy at least in the afterlife. Yeah. Hope she found someone. Oh shit! Why are you walking over to Maggie and Herschel? Why are you walking over to that? What? Okay. What?
If you stay here, she will kill you.
Yeah, that will definitely happen.
Just didn't want your death on my conscience.
No, Negan, don't you dare look at her. Don't you dare lay eyes on her. Don't you dare smirk. No, you son of a bitch, don't you dare. Oh, god damn it, that's the end. Okay. You know what? That easily one of the best bonus episodes that they gave us. Again, not all of them had a lot going for it, but this one, I think, not just it being the finale, not just it being the actual last of the bonus episodes in the finale of season 10, but even just purely in terms of story, it packed in so much and it gave us so much, and you know, it really, I think it does. I mean, maybe not fully, at least for me personally, maybe not fully, but for the most part, for the majority of it, it does allow you to see who Negan was and how he came to be and who he like why, like how and why he became the way he was, and stuff like that. So, I mean, first things first, I just want to say Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Hilary Morgan Burton. Give me a second. I feel like look. I'm terrible when it comes to names. All right, I'm terrible when it comes to name. I think I said Morgan Burton. Burton Morgan. I'm just gonna keep this page open. In case I forget it. Again, like when it comes to full names like that, sometimes I can switch the names around. My deepest, sincerest apologies. So Burton Morgan, HBM, Hilary Burton Morgan. Yeah. So JDM and HBM, just chef's kiss. Tip of the hat, round of applause, just everything you possibly can. Like, I think it's not just for the fact that they are happily married and like an actual, like a real couple with like a happy family in real life, but also just the fact that they so eloquently translate that love onto the show so well too. And it actually, not just the fact that it makes you think that they're this happy, they're this kind of happy, hunky-dory kind of couple, but it's also the fact that like any couple, they face their challenges, they face their struggles with each other and with the rest of the world, and it kind of took a toll on them. But in the end, it's like they tried to be happy, and those like like that trying did eventually pay off into something. But then the ending still just like the ending, just like the cards weren't for them, the cards were stacked against them in the end, and it just wasn't really meant to be. And stuff like that. So yeah, but I think just kind of seeing how their relationship went from point A to point B to all the other future points and everything, just seeing how it kind of blossomed and then eventually crashed and burned through no complete fault of their own. Seeing how that journey went, because then she was diagnosed at the outbreak too. She was diagnosed. I think she had an MRI, which I believe is like a brain scan. So I think her cancer must have been a brain cancer, or a brain like tumor or so of some kind. But I think as soon as she was diagnosed, like you hear on the radio, like the killers are starting to eat the flesh of actual living people. So that's when the outbreak starts. I mean, I'm surprised that like you're still able to actually go out to the doctors and stuff. Like I'm surprised like having that kind of an outbreak where some kind of virus or disease is released and turns people into flesh-eating monsters. Like I'm surprised like an outbreak of that extent would not enforce some kind of stay-at-home order like with COVID. Like I'm surprised that I mean, I guess it would depend on the actual location. Like if you're within 5 to 10 miles of where the outbreak is happening the most, then obviously you stay indoors and you kind of just avoid contact with other people in case they want to fucking eat your face off. But in this case, I think Lucille was definitely still able to go to the doctor, and they caught it early on too. They had that whole kind of trope too, like we're lucky we caught it this early on. Most people aren't able to do that, so we're lucky we actually know what to do going forward. But then in the end, it still catches up to her. And I think also due to the outbreak too, with the outbreak, it's like a lot of those kinds of treatments would be put on major hold, and you'd never know. I mean, it gives you no positive outlook on life, knowing that everything else is going to crap and that the world itself is turning to hell and everything's going upside down. So you don't know, if and when survival is even an option, generally speaking, let alone actually being on this kind of treatment and actually already suffering from something else, and then also having to worry about your best friend or your neighbor crashing through your back door and then just suddenly wanting to tear you limb from limb and stuff like that. So the outbreak starting as soon as that diagnosis happened was really, really freaky. But we see what their relationship was like. So I don't know where to start, honestly, because it's the time jumps kind of made me process it differently. Because I think it started with him actually, him manifesting his own demons. I think that was a really cool thing too. Like in the present day, like the council has banished him, and I think that only makes sense. I mean, like Carol herself even saying it's. I mean, not even that. I think it was his own demon, his own kind of season 7 demon manifestation, telling him trust me, after what you've done to them, this is better than you deserve. If Maggie had her way, she would have actually killed him right from the get-go. And right now, as you can see in all the present day shots, she is actively fighting the urge to go up to him and just bash his brains in the same way he did to Glenn and to Abraham. So you see that kind of stuff, and then like Carol kind of softens the blow, saying, "Don't worry, the council have actually moved to, commence this order, and they've banished you and everything." And now, not really leaving him out in the cold, still giving him shelter and giving him all of his stuff back. And then even at the end, her saying they're doing a resource and food hunt, so she'll send by what she can afterwards, like from whatever's left over, maybe. and stuff like that. So yeah, so that thing, like him manifesting his, him manifesting not just any demon from his past, but also like the demon that specifically got him into this mess, the one that they met, the one that the rest of the group met, the one that, you know, actually tortured them and tormented them by killing off 2 of their prized kind of members and kind of friends and everything, and like the one who actually got him into this mess of being so hated and feared and just, you know, being wished death upon and stuff was a really cool scene. So then that then forces him to, that like seeing the version of him that got him into this mess then forces him to actually go even further back down memory lane and actually evaluate, like you know, like look at who he used to be, and then look at who he used to be, and then actually see, like, you know, how far that got him in life and where that brought him to. So it was a really good kind of trip down memory lane in that sense. So that was really fun. So we go to 12 years earlier. We go to 12 years earlier, which I believe was when he was captured. I don't know if he was with that group. I think because I didn't really get. I mean, I got like captured vibes, but I didn't really. But at the same time, I also got like somewhat like semi-cooperative vibes, because he did give them the info. He gave them the info on where the hospital was, but then they even said, like, you know, oh, when we got to that road, it was so overgrown that even they couldn't get in. So there was no way in hell that, you know, like anyone else like could have gotten in, let alone like doctors making their routes and stops and everything. So then they knew that he lied to them. But I think that there could have been like some kind of semi cooperation there where they found him, they bartered with him, and then he gave them information. But then they kind of, you know, further reinforced his captivity because of the information that he gave them that led out to be a cold lead. So I think they wanted the medicine for themselves, but also in the sense of, like, you know, having possession of rare resources and stuff, and like knowing the importance, especially of something like chemotherapy drugs and everything too. So so they knew how important it was, and especially, like, you know, like him telling them that, you know, his wife had cancer and that she needed it and stuff, like you know, like them knowing exactly how important it was to him. So them using that kind of, you know, dealing to their advantage, and actually, you know, like telling, even like that further kind of element of power and control, being like, you know, if you're lying to me again, then I'm gonna pour this down the toilet and I'm gonna make you watch. So then that way, you know, instead of actually going into your wife's veins, this thing is going down the can. So yeah, so then he has to tell them where he got it. So then that brings us even back further, and it actually brings a familiar face back. It brings a very, very familiar face back. So we met Laura, and she has the same kind of, I don't know, I mean, it looks like a barcode from certain angles, but I think it also is just like a really kind of peculiar kind of tattoo on her neck or something. But she was with a group that he met her before the Saviors. She was actually with a medical group, and she had a father, like, presumably like an adoptive father, and yeah, so Franklin and Laura. I don't know if we know what happened to Franklin, because my memory on season 7 in that sense is pretty vague. I don't know if we actually got much of Laura's history before then, because I think the first time we meet Laura, she seems pretty unequivocally and undeniably kind of loyal to Negan and the Saviors, and she seems like a pretty hardcore member of that group. So we're just kind of led to assume that, you know, oh, even if she was with another group before now, like, all that matters to her now is Negan and this group. And I think we definitely do kind of see that towards the end too. Like, yeah, she comes back and saves them and everything, so she feels that too. And I think she clearly has some sense of like a medical history. Like, you know, she at least goes hunting for resources. Like, you know, like Franklin sends her out on a trip to actually scour like their nearby kind of resource place for, you know, drugs that, like the same chemotherapy drugs that he actually had on him when he was in the chair and everything. So yeah, and Laura is the reason he has the bat. And yeah, she used it on she used it to knock him out in the beginning. And I think that is. I think it's just. I don't know if it's foreshadowing, or I mean, it could definitely count as foreshadowing. But I think it's also just like a beautiful kind of hint of the past. That, you know, not only does she later join him down the line, but she also gives him the very weapon he uses to enforce control and dominance over so many different people and stuff. So that bat later becomes his prized possession and his prized killing machine and everything. So yeah, so she gives him that bat, and then she later goes under his wing, works for him and his people, and actually becomes one of the, you know, best and brightest of the Saviors and everything. So seeing some, like, she didn't really get a whole lot of screen time or like a whole lot to do or say, but still kind of seeing where she originally came from before the Saviors and how she personally met Negan was really, really fun to see, and seeing Lindsley register back as Laura was really fun too. I think when she died out at Beta's hands, I was like, she can't be dead, can she? But then because they showed like him killing her, and then they didn't even show us her body. Like they showed us her body very minimally, but then like a pool of blood rapidly forming around her head. So it's like, okay, she may well be dead. So seeing that again, like Laura, I think especially seeing how many of the saviors reformed themselves after the fall of the saviors too. It was really interesting to see like just how many actually switched sides, like Laura, Arat, like a bunch of other people, like how many of them actually so quickly and so thoroughly switched sides. Like there was that whole thing of like the tension between the former saviors who refused to trust Rick or align with Rick and were pissed off at being treated differently and stuff, but then there were others like Laura and Wright who actually just fully sided with Rick after. But like you could see from the finale beforehand that like a few of them actually surrendered and like actually laid down their weapons and everything. I think Laura must have been among them, but just seeing how far she's come. So she goes from being like a medical kind of like assistant to Franklin to being like a fully fledged savior under Negan's rule, and then actually joining Rick's side and actually helping in the fight against the Whisperers and everything and stuff like that. Like seeing how far she's come to compare to where she began is just a really, really interesting journey to see. So seeing Laura was great. So yeah. And yeah, I think further on to Lucille and Negan's kind of personal relationship. So Negan, yeah, he cheated. Negan was a man of adultery. He was a man of adultery, and he cheated on her with her best friend. I think throughout like various kind of romance stories, that is like a common kind of cheating trope too. It's usually like the best friend or like the sibling or something along those lines. So in this case, it was Janine, the best friend. I figured as soon as she was crossing like going down the list of names, like Janine to Negan, Janine to Negan, I was like, oh, are they together? Because I think again, like he lied about having the meeting with the probation officer when it wasn't for another couple of weeks, and then both of them, Negan and Lucille, were actually Negan and Janine, had both of their phones switched off and onto voicemail. So that was signs of some very, very risky business going on. So he was cheating with her, and I think to find out all of that in one day too. I mean, she could care less about. I think deep down she didn't really care about the outbreak. I mean, the outbreak was like lingering on her mind, maybe as like a really strange kind of update for this new virus being released. Like, oh damn, like people are eating each other on the streets and everything. That's kind of crazy. But then, the more hard-hitting announcements in life would be then being diagnosed with the cancer, regardless of if it was early on being diagnosed with the cancer at all. But then also actually coming to terms and like actually deducing the fact that your husband was sleeping with your best friend and stuff like that. So then and then when she's at home, she has two choices. Either actually give him the book about the cancer and actually tell him what's going on, or just take that son of a bitch out right there and then with that presumably loaded gun, or at least scare him to death. Because I think Negan, even when he was tracking Franklin and Laura, and even when he was trying to threaten them, he had like an empty gun. So I think we can safely assume that maybe the gun was empty in that sense too, and she just wanted to kind of make him piss his pants a little, make it pee pants city, like he said in season 7. But no, she decided to actually go forward and tell him the truth. I think she kind of I think at that point, maybe she actually wanted to kind of hold it over him, like, oh, I knew for this long, so I decided maybe kind of test his own loyalty, test his own ability to tell the truth, and be like, she's known for this long, but she's gonna give you the ability to come out and confess it. If you are an actual good man and you want to confess your own sins, then you come forward and tell your own truth in your own time. But no, but then in the future, like in the future years afterwards, where stuff like that seems fairly minor and among another bucket list of very, very minor things in the grand scheme of things in the apocalypse, like she actually tells him, like, I knew about you and Janine. I knew, and he then feels even worse. And then it's uncovered that like he's but like part of the reason he's been doing this, a fairly large part, but a part nonetheless of the reason he's been fighting so thoroughly to actually save her and to find more chemo drugs and to actually keep her alive and to keep them both together. And the thing is because of the guilt he feels over having done what he did. He feels guilty over having been with Janine all while she was suffering with this, and stuff like that. And then he even admits that, you know, he broke it off after the diagnosis. He broke it off after he found out about the diagnosis, because then he, you know, felt that would just be extremely fucked up if he actually still kept on sleeping with her. After finding out that his actual wife had actually been diagnosed with a very, very deadly disease. So yeah. And I think that definitely, among other things, definitely ties back into what he said to Jadis, because I think that was the first reference we got, like him telling Jadis about Lucille, about the human Lucille, was actually the first ever reference we got from him actually having a wife, and it was actually the first kind of comic book tie-in that, you know, okay, so this Negan does have a wife called Lucille, and that's where she comes from. But he also, like I think even the way he talked about her in that scene too was very, very specific. It wasn't really like him actually reminiscing about the happy times. It was about him saying, like, you know, she would, like, he loved her because she was loyal to him even when he didn't deserve her loyalty. Like, you know, he literally said, you know, like I gave her shit and she stuck with me all through. And even in this episode he even tells her, like, you know, at that dinner table, like, you know, he's treated her badly so much and so many times, and he's treated her better than worse. He hasn't treated her the way that she deserves to be treated. But regardless of that, you know, she still loves him, and, you know, she even kind of exclaims in her own way that, you know, like she knows deep down he can be a good man, and he can be the man that she that she deserves to be with, and she sees that through all the shit that he gives her, so she stays with him because of that, and because she knows that he can be better. And Negan, you know, like he uses that kind of belief that, you know, like he knows he's done bad to her, but at the same time he still feels like he like not only does he want to make up for the bad that he's done, but he also wants to actually try and work through the future to actually be the man that she deserves and be the person that she deserves and everything. So that kind of like the exploration of that too, like, you know, like the kind of further elaboration of the fact that their relationship and their marriage was not all perfect. It wasn't, you know, I think it very definitely seems like, you know, a very kind of not necessarily generic, but it also does seem like a fairly genuine relationship where nothing's perfect. People do make mistakes, they do make bad choices, and they, you know, eventually kind of, you know, you hope that they eventually come out of that gutter with a clearer mind and like clearer goals and better intentions. But some people don't, some people do. But in this case, you know, Negan definitely did, but then he still paid the price for it later down the line, and he lost everything. So yeah, and I think this episode honestly just works to humanize Negan in ways that like definitely make you kind of like maybe not rethink who he is when you first meet him, but also definitely kind of it definitely shows you how he came to be, because once he had lost Lucille, he had literally nothing left to lose. He was all the more ready to start bashing brains in. And I think, you know, I mean, it makes you think, right? Like, it definitely makes you think, how would Lucille feel? I mean, naming a bat after her, she might not have a huge problem with, but then using that bat to commit murder, to actually commit cold-blooded murder in her name, like, that is not something that she would want you to do either. I think she said, I mean, her kind of speech to him was, you know, I need you to let me go, but to also keep fighting for, like, keep fighting my fight for me. But then she, you know, I think, you know, like, knowing her, she meant survive, go out there, do what you need to do, survive, and be a strong man, like, you know, find a group if you have to and actually be with them, but also just survive and be a good person. But, you know, not, you know, oh, go lead your own group, go lead your own cult and start killing people in my name, and, you know, start asserting dominance wherever you can and everything like that. So, you know, and I like how that ties back into his own kind of self-depreciating description of his season of who he is now compared to who he was in season 7, like, you know, like a cult with no personality and everything like that. So that was fun. But yeah, but I think, yeah, like she I think she would definitely disapprove of everything he's done, everything he's been doing in her name, like honoring her memory. And I think, you know, he's like you know, even after she died, that bat with the barbed wire, that one inanimate object used as a weapon of murder, is the one thing he's treated well his entire life after losing her. You know, so it definitely goes to show you that, you know, like once he lost Lucille, like once he lost his anchor, his canary, like after that he was unhinged. He was no longer the same man after that. And even before that, like the story about the jukebox in the bar where, you know, it played "You Are So Beautiful," like that was their song. And yeah, I think as soon as it started playing, like as soon as he started singing it, like I recognized the lyrics from The Boys. It's the song that Deep's Gills, voiced by Patton Oswalt, sings to him to try and actually make him feel better about the way he looks and everything. So I recognized it from there, but this was their song too. This was their song. I mean, well, it was her song, and he loved it because it was her song and it made her happy, and he loved seeing her happy. So he was a good man in that sense. But yeah, like I think he like that story about the bar definitely, and yeah, that story about the bar definitely shows that he had violent tendencies before losing her or before any of this stuff happened. Like he definitely had violent tendencies before, and even the way he talks about, you know, engaging in that kind of violence, like, you know, well, like when you enter that mindset, when you see someone coming at you, you see nothing but red as if you're looking through blood. Like that kind of description shows that he was definitely capable of physical assault. And even what he did to that guy too, even what he did to that guy, like it wasn't just like a simple case of physical assault where he knocks him out in one punch. It was like he literally kept on going until the guy wasn't moving. So the guy literally had to be hospitalized, and then he still survived. He still went on to survive, but yeah, I mean, whether or not he survived the outbreak is another question entirely. But he still survived being attacked by Negan. But then the guy actually had kids who went to the school that Negan taught gym at. So then, you know, that definitely called for a grounds of reporting him for physical violence, and then, you know, the school firing him, and then him losing his job, and then the guy sued, and then because Negan had no job, then Lucille then had to pay the guy's medical bills and everything. So everything went tits up, and even then, even that flashback too shows that Negan is literally just he's not even trying to get a new job. He's not even trying to better himself in any way. He's literally just in the basement playing video games with teenagers and cussing them out, telling them to get better and everything. Like, you know, he's the noob master 69 of the Walking Dead universe. He is literally that guy. So so yeah, that was great. But yeah, no, I think it definitely shows that, you know, after losing Lucille, Negan was unhinged. He did not really care about who else he hurt. He cared about inflicting pain. I think he didn't really go out killing random people. He killed the people that, you know, kept him captive and tortured him, and now they were doing the same thing to Franklin and Laura, to Franklin and Laura. I think after losing Lucille, he figured out that, you know, that was the place to go. He had to save Franklin and Laura. He had to save them. I think, again, we still don't know what happened to Franklin. Don't know if he survived or if he kind of, you know, because I feel like, you know, like they would have been the first people he joined up with. They would have then been the first people that, you know, he might have even considered actually moving forward with and actually being part of a group with. And then he takes Laura and actually, you know, boots up the Saviors soon after that. So yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, Lucille actually brought him his jacket. I think, no, he bought the jacket actually. You know, and I think they started off with the actual outbreak flashback being like, oh, she actually kept it. I mean, she kept it for him. Because I think he bought it even when they were practically broke with credit card loans and the guy's medical bills and all that jazz. And, you know, like she even said, you know, what job do you have that's actually going to pay for all this in the middle of everything else you have to buy? So he bought the jacket, and then just to kind of piss her off even further, he threw away the receipt. So then she pretended that she actually threw it away or like returned it or something, but then she actually kept it in their kind of secret stockpile and everything. And then as an anniversary gift, she still kept track of that. She still kept track of the days and the months and the years and everything. And as an anniversary gift, she actually, you know, pulled it back out and actually presented it to him again. So I was so surprised. I was like, you know, wait, they have a pristine looking leather jacket that still has a tag. It still has a freaking tag on it. Like, that alone shocked me. Like, oh, it looks so good, and it looks so new, and it looks so wearable. And I was like, wait, it has a tag. That means it's completely unworn. So he got the jacket. I think I'm still curious as to where he got the actual red shawl from. I don't know if he just found that and thought it looked cool, like made him look like a really murderous Freddy from Scooby-Doo or something. Or because I remember thinking, wait, is it like an ascot or is that kind of? Because it looks big enough to be a shawl, but then I still get like ascot vibes from it, like with Fred from Scooby-Doo. But either way, he got the bat from Laura and he got the jacket from Lucille, the jacket that he never took off. We very, very rarely saw him actually take it off, or, you know, like not wearing the jacket in any way. He was always wearing it. I think leather itself is also like, you know, it does not really breathe all too much. It doesn't really move around. It's very, very stiff, and it's more for, I think, from my experience of seeing it and wearing it myself, it's definitely more for style than it is for actual, you know, like wearability and comfort. But still, it looks cool. It literally looks cool. Leather looks cool. So he got that, and yeah, I think after he lost Lucille, he donned the leather and everything, and he started off with leather and a hoodie. And then somewhere down the line he actually swapped out the hoodie for the shawl and the shirt underneath and stuff. So yeah, his attire changed after that. His attire changed. And then tragedy struck. So he actually he got the Valax Vipers to where they need to go. He they brought Laura and Franklin and their RV to them, and they started attacking them in there. So then he just drove off thinking, you know what, I've got bigger things to deal with right now. I need to get back to Lucille and give her these drugs. And I figured, like the way his entrance to that house was so slow paced, and he was actually investigating the entrance and everything. I figured, okay, something's gonna go wrong here. But then it's just like it's a twist that sucks so bad. All of that scavenging and then being captured and needing to tell them where to go, and all of that just to find out that Lucille. I think I was so worried because I thought, I thought maybe they had actually tracked him back to his own place and killed his wife as some kind of sick, twisted punishment for wasting their time or for doing something else. Like being like, okay, you gave us this information, great, but you wasted our time to begin with, so now we're gonna take something from you. I thought they were that twisted, but no, I think she actually left the message on the door being like, don't leave me like this. And then as soon as he opens the door, you hear the sounds of a walker. So that's when it hits. Lucille, she commits suicide. She commits suicide by suffocation. I think suffocation. I think that would be suffocation. I think asphyxiation. I was thinking, would it be suffocation or asphyxiation? I think asphyxiation would probably have to be like more direct contact, right? It's like that's like an actual murder technique. But then if you kill yourself by suffocating yourself, then that's actually suffocation. So she zip tied a plastic bag around her head and then choked to death on what limited oxygen she had, and turned into a walker. So that was the end of it. That was the end of the road. And then you see that he's actually holding the bat, getting ready to do it. So then that makes you wonder. Is the first kill he ever committed with the bat his own turned wife? Is it his own undead wife? Is that the first person he ever killed with that bat? And then he goes on to actually remember her by naming the bat after her. But no, not only can he not bring himself to kill her with the bat, he can't even bring himself to kill her directly with anything at all. He can't bring himself to cave her head in, to shoot her in the face, to do anything at all. So he just kind of gets drunk and then burns the entire house. He burns down the entire house. That house is where they've lived for so long. The house is where all of their memories, their entire married life has been cherished and harnessed and everything. So he burns down his entire past. He burns down that past, and we find out his last name. His last name is Smith, Negan Smith. As he drives past his own letterbox, it says Smith in the faintest of letters in the dark of the night and everything. So yeah, I think I've wondered for so long. I think I checked the wiki too, and it didn't even have anything on that. I checked the Walking Dead wiki, it didn't even have anything on that. So I think I've wondered for so long what his actual full name is. If his last name was Negan or something, if he just went around introducing himself by his last name or something. But no, I mean, Negan Smith. I mean, Negan itself, to me at least, Negan itself sounds like a last name to me. So I've, like Negan Smith doesn't really roll off the tongue as eloquently, but then Lucille Smith sounds about right. Lucille Smith sounds about definitely right, but Negan Smith, just Negan, is a very, very kind of peculiar name to me. So. But yeah, regardless, anyway, he burned down his house. I think that the kind of symbolism in that scene overall stood out very well, and it stood on its own kind of 2 feet very well too. Like him actually not being able, and like him having to come to terms with having lost everything in that one, in those kind of 5 to 10 minutes of that one scene, and having to kind of contemplate leaving her behind here, or because I think it was literally her dying words. Her dying wish was literally written on the door in Sharpie or whatever. Like, don't leave me like this. She could not take watching Negan go further and further, only to come back with so little every time, and to actually still be stuck here to keep going up further and further, but then to come back stuck with a dying wife and little to no resources or supplies and everything. So that kind of haunted him. But yeah, that was it. That was the final straw. Losing Lucille was losing everything for him. So then he actually went out. He actually took the barbed wire off of his own fence, and that's when we see the creation of Lucille. Him actually wrapping the bat up in barbed wire and stuff. So that was fun. And I loved. I think Lucille. One thing I loved about her was her like her kind of newfound passion. I mean, you could call it a coping mechanism. Like, I mean, I don't know if it would be a coping mechanism, but her newfound kind of passion for different kind of hairstyles and different colored hair, because she lost all of her hair to chemo and to cancer and everything. Like she, had so many different wigs, so many different colors. She looked amazing in all of them. I think my favorite might have just been like the long pinkish kind of purple one that she wore. Like she had like a bunch of low bob cuts that were green and like a deeper purple, but then she wore all of those colors really well. Like that kind of montage scene of her with Negan, like even Negan wearing a few wigs and them kind of just just goofing around and having fun, like those kind of happy moments of them as a couple, even actually as the world around them and as their own lives were kind of barely hanging on by a fingernail on a cliffside. They still found time to actually express love and to try and have some sense of fun together and to actually make some memories and stuff. So that was really cool, but it's just kind of just seeing Lucille in that, like seeing Lucille for who she was before and after the outbreak, before and after the cancer too. Like I think before the cancer, they had very, very normal kind of human problems of financial stuff and Negan just being Negan and Lucille literally having to put up with him and stick with him for all that time of her own accord, like her actually fighting to try and make him a better man and everything, and then after the outbreak, both of them realizing that all they have left is each other, and they're still trying to make the best of like a really, really shitty situation. Seeing that kind of development between them and that kind of history being formed and leading eventually to this was really, really fun. So again, Hillary smashed it. Hillary smashed it as Lucille. No pun intended. No pun intended. Because I mean, for her it wouldn't be much of a pun, but she still smashed it. Like even before she was reincarnated as a brain bashing bat, she still smashed it as Lucille. She still smashed it as that character, like showing this woman that Negan was fighting so hard to stay alive with, and the one woman that actually kept him anchored, that kept him being who he was and who he was trying to be. But then once she was gone, like the Negan that the world used to know was gone. Like this newfound man was all about actually. He then turned into someone who no longer felt the need to actually, hold back his violent tendencies. He then turned into someone who asserted dominance and control wherever he went and stuff. So, like her showing that, like her being that kind of character too, was really, really interesting to see. And just Hillary overall, she's such an amazing actor. I don't know if she's actually been in anything before this. If she's actually done any acting before this, like I don't know how many different kind of roles and screen presences she's had. I'll have to look that up. But in this alone, in this one episode alone, she took this role, and she acted beyond compare. So hats off to both of them. For doing what they did. And yeah, that final scene definitely has some sinister undertones to it as well. It definitely. That smirk he gave Maggie, I do not like that smirk one bit. I do not like that kind of side-eyed smirk glance thing one bit. He went back into Alexandria to tell and I thought he was gonna be like, oh, I'm like don't worry about sending me any food or coming up to the barn with any more resources or anything like that. I'm leaving. I'm gonna go continue finding my own path and finding maybe another group or something, or just finding his own way. But no, then he went back further back into Alexandria, and he was actually, after finishing talking with Carol, I like that Carol did kind of exclaim that, if you stay here, she will kill you, and I don't want to have that kind of blood on my hands or on my conscience, and no one else would. I mean, people would try and hold her back, but no one would actually blame her for trying or try and actively kind of stop her out of any other kind of intent. But that smirk he gave Maggie on the sidewalk, I do not like that one bit. I mean, and again, that definitely looks like, it's not even like a friendly smile. It's not even like a friendly, like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm just hoping there can be peace between us. Like, it's not that kind of smile. It's like, hey, Maggie, how you doing? Yeah, I'm back in town, I'm back in Alexandria. It's like that kind of smile and look that he's giving her. So I do not like that one bit, and I do not know how that's going to lead into season 11, like if he's actually going to try and make peace, or if he's just going to taunt her with his presence, or if he's going to do something else, or if he's, again, I do not want to see them trying to make him befriend Herschel the same way he befriended Judith. I do not want to see any of that kind of stuff happening, because that's going to be unacceptable, beyond compare. It's going to be unacceptable. So yeah, I don't know what their plans are, but I do not look forward to them. I do not look forward to them in any way. But yeah, that is pretty much all I have. That's pretty much all I have from this episode. It definitely felt like something more to get engrossed in, whilst also having several noteworthy moments. But that is pretty much all I've picked up. If I've missed anything out, or if there's any kind of thoughts you guys want to share on how you felt about this episode, absolutely feel free. The comments are open. Let me know what you thought and how you felt and what you think is going to happen with Negan going forward into season 11. But yeah, that is it. That is the end of season 10 and the end of all the bonus episodes that the writers had in store for us. And yeah, personally, I've enjoyed I've enjoyed all of them in their own way. Some of them haven't been the same as others. Like some of them have been underwhelming. Others have been pretty adequately whelming and stuff. So they've all had certain qualities about them, like certain individual kind of qualities and satisfactory moments about them, but for the most part they've been what they have been. Like, they haven't even been promoted to be anything overly spectacular or anything like that. They've just been, you know, told to be bonus episodes that kind of blend into a bit of season 10 before teasing some further stuff going into season 11. So I've enjoyed them for what they've been, and I thoroughly look forward to season 11, knowing it's the final season 2. I really can't wait to see what they have in store for us. But yeah, that is all I have. That is the official end of season 10 of The Walking Dead, and that was episode 22. So thank you guys, as always, so much for being here and for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then salt and burn a like button. Comment on what you thought of the episode and what you think is coming up next time on The Walking Dead going into season 11, what your theories are, what you hope to see, and all that jazz, and then what you thought of season 10 and the bonus episodes that we've seen so far. Once again, the full-length reaction for this episode will be over on Patreon, so you can go check that out over there. And yeah, that is it. So, I will see you guys next time.